Looks a bit odd, doesn't it? But this telescope represents a world first in birding optics. Continue watching to find out more. Hi, I'm Mike Allibone, optics editor for Birdwatch and BirdGuides. Following the success of their ultramodern APC image stabilised binoculars, Kite Optics has taken the technology to the next level and built it into a telescope. Why, you ask? Well, there are clear advantages associated with an image stabilised telescope. First and foremost, it can be successfully used without having to rely on a tripod for support, so you can go tripod free from day one. Well, that's the principal aim anyway. So let's have a look at how it works. The central box contains the image stabilisation system. It's gimbal based and very similar to what you'd find in the Kite image stabilised binoculars. The eyepiece is 17 times to 35 times zoom magnification. It's an existing eyepiece which, if you have a Kite scope already with this eyepiece, you can use it with this image stabilised scope here. The focusing is a central wheel around the scope here, and for the image stabilisation system to kick in, you use this switch here basically to switch it on just by twisting it like that or twisting it like that to switch it off, and it's as simple as that. When the image stabilisation system is switched off, the scope just behaves like a normal telescope. You need obviously then to charge the battery, and there's a charging point for that, which is basically just here underneath, and you get something like 36 hours charge out of it. Unlike the binoculars, of course, this is not the type of equipment that turns itself off when you actually hang it vertically. You've either got to keep it switched on or switch it off. The scope body is rubber covered. It's got a nice bit of rubber armour on it. There's almost integrated, but you can actually take it out, almost integrated cap to cover the objective lens, and there's a loop-on eyepiece cover as well, which, to be quite honest, I don't think will last too long. It looks to me like it's going to fall off with constant use in the field, but it's your choice as to whether or not you use it. An additional item or piece of equipment which is supplied with the scope is this small monopod, which Kite have aptly named a relax view stick, which basically you just screw into the bottom of the scope, and it effectively extends like that, and you can actually hold it if you want to use it in that particular mode. Personally, I'm not sure that it works for me. The most comfortable position I found was basically just to push them together like that, and that gives you an area to grip the scope with one hand, and you can adjust the magnification and the focusing with the other hand. It's really quite easy to do that, and you can actually use the stick in the hide. You can rest it on the shelf in a hide and look out of the shutter. So how does all this translate to use in the field? Let's take a look. If you prefer to use it with a conventional tripod, that also works, with the added bonus that whenever anybody enters the hide, all the vibrations carried through the floorboards are not transmitted to the scope. So if we vibrate the floorboards like that, you just don't get it. At a weight of 1.35 kilos, it's not overly heavy, especially when you're resting it on a shelf in a hide, of course. And it's delivering a nice, bright, stable image at 35 times magnification. The colours are very natural, and it's sharp almost to the very edge of the field. There is some chromatic aberration. It's probably more evident in the outer 30% of the field. The middle of the field of view does have some, but it's not overly worrying. And when you move the scope to scan, there's no real time lag. It does not play catch-up like some image stabilised optics that I've looked through before. It's very good, very impressive, and I like it. So what's the future for image stabilisation in optics? Who knows? We could see it introduced to even more telescopes in the future. It does have its benefits, there's no doubt about that. I'm genuinely impressed. Very nice. I also successfully attached and used a phone scope adapter with the telescope, as well as a digital camera, although with the camera the scope was mounted on a tripod. But it's been released principally for the purpose of being handheld and going tripod free. I really would like the opportunity to try this scope on a pelagic trip, where the boat's rocking and image stabilisation comes into its own. To my mind, this really is an impressive piece of equipment, and in relative terms, it's not overly expensive. In fact, if you already own a kite scope with the transferable eyepiece, then you're already a third of the way there, price-wise. The scope body is £1,300 and the eyepiece a further £695. I'm sure this is only the beginning when it comes to image stabilisation in telescopes, and we can surely expect more to come.